Hello, and now we come to nonfiction texts. So, as per the curriculum, you have to read fictional stuff and non-fictional stuff, obviously. So, if you have to do non-fictional text, you should know how to define them, how to identify the purpose and audience of the texts, understand what the writers of each text are trying to say, and how they use the presentational/graphological features. You must be able to compare and contrast the ways the writer uses language to meet the intended purpose and audience, because that's basically a good chunk of the essay, and obviously you have to understand what the hell nonfiction texts are. So there are 4 questions that you'll be asked. So here, you please prepare for them, because first you have to look for information, explain what a text suggests, compare writing techniques, identify presentational devices/graphological devices. It is important and imperative that you manage to achieve these 4 points, because that's basically how your essay is gonna include. That's what your essay is gonna include, basically. So, what are non-fictional texts? They're basically, as the name implies, stuff that's based on facts and real-life information rather than something made up like a novel. So, like, it includes a lot of data and information. So, for example, leaflets, so like pamphlets and flyers, corporate websites, so saying what the company does, newspaper or magazine articles, because they're news reports, they report facts, advertisements, they are also reporting facts. They're not fiction, obviously, because you have to talk about a product. And film and book reviews, again, they're talking about, it's very funny, you're talking about something potentially fictional, but then it's described as fact because you're reporting what the book includes. So yeah. There are 2 key details one has to know. So, audience and purpose. Because if you don't know what your text is who your text is aimed at, and what the text is trying to do, the text you basically have no idea what you're going to write. And again, if you're writing your own text, you have to know what your audience and purpose is. Because, like, yeah, for everything, even in the future in real life, if you don't know what you're writing for and whom you're writing to, it's pointless. You don't have to write. So please know exactly what you're being asked. This is deadly important. So 4 types of questions that are going to come up: looking for information, identifying and explaining presentational/graphological devices, understanding and interpreting meaning, and comparing the effectiveness of language techniques. So, in fact, why not let us zoom in a bit? Here we go, because it's hurting my eyes a bit. So, non-fictional texts. Question type 1, looking for information. So for this type, it tests your understanding of the text. You must be able to find the information, obviously, explain why the information you have chosen answers the question, again, because you pick your own resources to answer the question. And here you're tested on how to summarize. You must identify the opinion, because like they want to know if you can pick out the direction of what the writer is trying to head to. So this can be achieved. The opinion can be found by looking at the diction, the heading and title, and the attitude. So if, for example, a title says, "Oh, a guy murders child," so in cold blood, so you know that the writer is negative towards them, as should everybody. The diction, you could have like an article about food would have like tasty, delicious, juicy. An article about a car would have like things that are slow, fast, splendid, powerful, that kind of stuff. Attitude, so you get like adjectives and phrases and stuff that say what the audience thinks as. I've put it absolutely brilliant, utter nonsense, utter garbage, quite stupendous. It shows how and what level of scale the author feels about about the thing he's presenting. And of course the argument. Look for discourse markers, so like on contrary, what is more, another thing, because that shows which side, again, it hints which side the writer is trying to argue on. So, but it should be obvious to you anyway by the title and the diction. So, pro tips and traps. Quote sections from a text to summarize, because it's easier. Be good to paraphrase if you can't quote nicely. Be careful about quotes, because not everything's from the writer, because the writer may be quoting or paraphrasing from somebody. Quoteception. So the main points a writer makes tend to come at each end of each paragraph, because apparently it's like at the end where you start to re-talk about your point a bit, summarize it a bit, and then it's a stronger point. Just look at the end. Check what a good tip is to like check the end and compare it to the start of the paragraph, or like the end of the first to the end of the last one, so that way you can get a good idea of what's happening. So question type 2, identifying the devices slash features. So it relates to how it looks. So you must be able to list the features and devices used and explain why they're used, obviously, because for example a guy wouldn't use a picture for no reason. So here's some devices and features. So you've got headings, subheadings, photos, pictures, illustrations. They're all the same thing. Photos and pictures are the same, sorry. Illustrations are like writing or diagrams. Font size, colors, layouts, features, structure, and quotations, because you would be like using a sans serif font for something like casual or normal or like business, but you would use a serif font for like something fancy or formal or elegant. So why some devices are used by the writer depend on purpose and audience. Again, just like the previous text, it's the same thing. Why does he use this picture? Why does he use this font? Who is he using this picture for? Who is he using this font for? So the use of the various devices are made to meet a specific purpose. So as I've said, yeah, and for example, restaurants would have bigger images, like many adjectives, colorful fonts, uh, special enhancement on the pictures to like make the food look nice and attract people. So see KFC, Southern Chicken Rice Balls, the font and the stars and the big bowls of juicy and succulent chicken and nice rice and cheese coming April 6th and new. It's big, it's powerful, it sends the message, it makes people want to come back to KFC, therefore it's an effective piece of text. And yeah, you can say that. Choices in color and font, so like, yeah, bright colorful for kids, dark and mature for adults. And here's like the fonts and stuff. As you can see, this is made by Mr. Caslon, and it was I think in 1792. So you can look at the fonts and just see how they're presented, because like you see all these like serif fonts on serif fonts. So as you can see, serif fonts, the things with the curls and stuff, would be used for like fancy menus, invitations, and that kind of stuff. And sans serif font will be like for just normal everyday stuff. So there are three main reasons. Mood. A piece of writing will always try to express feelings. So pay attention to the following: pictures, fonts, color, and quotes, because you want to create a happy, what kind of mood. So like happy mood for a concert, deadly serious for public service announcement, or something like that. Memory. Uh, you guys should still remember the KFC one, right? It's big, it's bold, uh, it's not colorful, but like you get the lining. It's nice, nicely crisp details, bullet points. It's got the big pictures, so it's, yeah, it just fits the bill. Clarity, and of course here they're mostly written for people in a hurry because they're just walking by. Passive audiences, people hand out flyers, posters outside restaurants, that kind of stuff. So they need to be clear, bold, and just chuck the information at them, so it will make the people pick it up, read it, stop for a while, and maybe just take interest in the product or the text. So pay attention to especially color, bold text, bullet points, images, and captions. These four, because these are the ones that throw the information the fastest. And if they're big fonts, obviously that works a lot more. Question type 3, understanding of a text. Similar to the first type, this tests your understanding of the text, where the first tests your summarizing. This one tests how you can read between the lines and just look at not just summarizing, but like, for example, inferred meaning, as what I'm going to explain down there. So you want to look at the interrelationships and assumptions and contrasts inside the text, rather than just summarizing it and finding the opinion of the author. So go Sherlock Holmes mode. So inferred meaning, sarcasm. For example, a teacher gives you homework, a student sighs. Great. So we can immediately imply that the student does not think it's great and he does not want extra homework. Please read between the lines. It's good. It's good for you. Think about the feelings, especially because they're usually used in this, because a good way of making a good piece of writing is that writers frequently display human emotions to kind of drive the text along, and just put some kind of like inferred meaning where descriptions cannot do that. So details are important because the various things could like imply positive. So like dull, old, broken things for dismal atmosphere, and like bright and colorful for like something nice and shining clean. So similes and metaphors, just like the graphological features, they're important because they add a little bit of flair to the text. So like, she ran like the wind, suggests that the person is agile, she's fast, and light-footed. So yeah, it means a lot. Don't just say fast. Don't say this is a red apple. It implies the apple is red. No, you can say that this implies that the apple is fresh, it's juicy, it's crisp, something like that. Read deeper. So 4, comparing writing techniques. You must be able to identify the techniques and say what effects they have and why they're used. So you then need to do the same for another text, which means in your answer you have to write 4 paragraphs. So you have to say which techniques are used, why they're used, how are they similar or different from another text, and why they are similar or different from another text. So you should be able to identify the following, or at least just pick up the diction, the sentences, paragraphs, personal pronouns, persuasive techniques, discourse markers, emotive vocabulary. So, for example, you could have a difference between a news report or an advertisement for something happy. So, of course, you could say that the advertisement has lots of emotive language. It's very persuasive because you want to get people to buy something. There's short sentences, short diction. Actually, in fact, no sentences or short bold diction, no paragraphs, and no discourse markers because you just want to show the people that the product is up for sale and the product needs to be bought. Whereas, for example, a news report, you'd have like more elaborate diction, long sentences, short paragraphs, use of use of no personal pronouns because it's just reporting from third person, no persuasive techniques because you're reporting from a neutral point of view supposedly, discourse markers because you're writing, and little emotive vocabulary because you have to be neutral. And of course you've got exclamations, facts and opinions. The advertisement and news report both have a lot of them, except that the advertisements, facts and opinions are used with the intent to advertise, and news is used with the intent to inform. So yeah, think about that. It's good for you. So anyway, I should have zoomed in earlier. So this covers the I should probably use the thing here. This covers nonfiction texts. So please pay attention to the following, and just the big pro tip is from me is that everything has the same structure. You have to look at what the point. You have to look at the points you have to pick up. You have to say why they're used, how they're used, what effects they have, and just basically dig deep and read deep and you'll be well. So I guess that's it from me this time. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.